Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be doing the abridged review of Code Ment by PurpleEyes.
So that's the new kid, huh?
Yeah, his voice is so stupid. I don't know anyone with a stupider voice.
I know what you mean! Why do they make these things so hard to close?
This is a series that can be best summed up by the phrase WTF. And I don't say that lightly. I say it knowing full well that multiple times through every episode, whether it's 2, 3, 5, or 10 minutes, no matter what he puts up, that is the one defining trait of everything PurpleEyes does, but it is so completely codified in this series.
So, why'd they let you out of prison anyway?
Apparently, if you score negative on an IQ test, they give you a free pass out of everything!
You did so bad you owe points?
I did bad?
Code Ment is crazy. It is insane. And there are two different ways this show has encapsulated what it means to be crazy and radically insane on the internet. There are other shows that have done it. There are other shows that have done it better. But this one is known for it in such a way and for so long and for so many years that it is a standard bearer of what to expect when you go for the absurdist, the surreal, the insane, the wacky, the jokes that shouldn't work and become funny. This is what you should aspire to. But for all the reasons you would never assume to aspire to it.
Yes! No! Yes! Yes already! Fine, then give me the cat and I'll do it. My name? Oh, Suzaku. Yeah, Suzaku.
Going back a step, again, there are two different things that really make this show so WTF-inducing. The first one is the style of humor. Not just what the joke is, not just how it's told, but how it's presented, what is done around the joke on a visual scale, and how it is delivered. That is all very important to the style. The second one is specific jokes which encapsulate how it is performed. Now, when I say style, I specifically mean the sense of repetition, the reusing of visual cues, the reusing of a joke, a reusing of a line, the reusing of a particular edit or background to hammer home a point. For example, Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch. Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch.
Team
Team Deathmatch.
Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch.
Stop it!
Team Death. Hey. Sorry.
This should not be funny. This is a stupid line. It's not very good voice acting, which is intentional because it's funnier in that case, but that's just a standard abridged trope, so it's not worth commenting on. It is just something that it exists in this world, and they're just all randomly saying Team Deathmatch in this season, in this series, in this scene. And it's not funny. And then they say it again. And it's like, okay, they just keep saying it. And then they say it again. And then they say it again. And by the fifth or sixth time they say it, you're just smiling. You can't help it. And by the seventh, you're just going to laugh because it's so stupid. It is so over-the-top ridiculous. It is so irreverent and useless and idiotic that you can't help but laugh because it is so much the reason you would shout, "What the F?" at the screen because it doesn't make sense. And yet it keeps on going and it's an established thing. And this is why this type of humor works. It is a repetition of humor. It is hitting the audience over and over and over and over and over again to get an effect. And it works because one of the establishing factors of humor is repetition. It gets your attention. And because it gets your attention, you focus on it more. And because you focus on it more, you see something that's silly, maybe a little. Second time, maybe a little more. Third time, it's like, oh my God, why? And because you're asking yourself why, it becomes funny because that is how you deal with it. This is not a style of humor for everyone. I am personally kind of weak to it, so I find it quite funny. Other people find it quite annoying. I also find it annoying. But it's also funny because it induces that WTF reaction. And that is what it does very well. Now, there are many cases of this in Code Ment. The very first scene, they do a visual gag of that with Suzaku always turning around.
Hey, think we'll be friends forever? You're not even listening to me, are you? Forever? That's what I thought. Forever? Forever? Forever?
Forever?
You done? Forever?
They edit that thing in multiple times. It is done because it is visually distinct. It catches your attention, and you're like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And it just hammers home that they're all kind of idiots. Specifically Suzaku. Especially Suzaku. Oh my god, Suzaku. He is... Yeah, Suzaku. Oh god. That is the biggest way to establish humor in the show. Repetition. And there's some jokes that are stretched out more, some are funny right off the bat, but the big one is always repetition. Team Deathmatch is the first one that hit me without any issues. But there is one case of repetitive humor and absurdist and WTF-inducing that everyone should know who's aware of this series. I'm not going to be around the bush. You all know what's coming. This is Soup.
What do you mean you can't find them?
I can't find them. There's only soup.
What do you mean there's only soup?
It means there's only soup.
Well then get out of the soup aisle!
All right, you don't have to shout at me. There's more soup.
What do you mean there's more soup?
There's just more soup.
Go into the next aisle!
There's still soup.
Where are you right now?
I'm at soup.
What do you mean you're at soup?
I mean I'm at soup.
What store are you in?
I'm at the soup store.
Why are you buying clothes at the soup store?
Fuck you!
It is the one sketch, just a few seconds in this show, that has as much recognition as the entire show. If they just changed the name of this entire Abridged to Soup Abridged, people would still understand exactly what it is, because this scene has become so popular that even years later, it is a well-known meme, and it is a well-known joke, and it's, oddly enough, now the actual name of a clothing store. Yeah, that actually happened. I don't know if it was inspired by this Abridged, and I'm not sure if I want to find out it was or it wasn't, because I'm not really sure which is the crazier answer. It could go either way. Yeah, reality. What makes this show so good is this scene. Soup has the repetitive humor of asking, why are you trying to get clothes in a soup store? That's not funny. It's like, oh, he's an idiot. We knew this. It has been established a lot. And it's been done a lot with a lot of different jokes. Have I mentioned done a lot? It's been done a lot. But they add in that element of repetition. And they add in the background to show Soup. So there's a visual cue on top of just having Suzaku move around. The fact that they found a grocery store scene with him moving around, and then they moved into an actual soup store behind him. It works because it just adds a layer of crazy. It is that unreality, the absurdist why moment that nobody who is sane would ever do this. Again, have I mentioned Suzaku's an idiot? Because God, is he an idiot in this one and the real one. But that's completely not that's different. I don't like Suzaku. This is what makes it funny, because it gives you a visual element of why it's absurd and why it's repetitive, because you keep seeing it, but different images backing up the joke. The joke is repeated multiple times, and each time the sheer absurdity of it gets weirder and dumber. And this is what really sells it home. Where all the other jokes are just kind of said over and over, and to varying degrees of success, and I personally, again, find this a very big weakness of mine, so I enjoy it. This one, though, the voice acting with it, which is just batshit crazy to start with. It's a level of irreality, just crazy voicing. It sounds rather stupid, which is, matches how the character's portrayed. But they get more and more angry as they're talking, because they're both talking at each other, and because Suzaku's a biggest idiot, he doesn't understand why what he's doing is stupid. But they're getting angrier and angrier, and Lush is screaming over him to the phone, and the phone is getting louder, and they're getting louder, and they're getting just crazier as they go, and angrier, and they're shouting, "Why are you in this store?" The reason this works is because it heightens the emotion. It pulls us in because it shows something we can get interested in. Now, if they had done the exact same bit at a regular tonal level, it wouldn't be as compelling, because it would reduce the urgency of the conversation. Because when you talk at someone at a nice even level, at a nice even pace, and you don't really say anything, you could be saying something like, "I just murdered everyone in the world, and now they are all dead, and there's a meat dragon behind me." Yes, I know, obvious llamas with hats reference there. Very boring, very straightforward delivery. It doesn't really say anything, because I'm using a very flat tone of voice that is almost a monotone without taking a breath or changing my voice. And even when I screw up my words, you don't really notice, because it doesn't matter, because you're not listening. Why would you listen? Because there is nothing there. That is why it is important that they actually included the vocal definition by hyping up their emotion in the scene, because it made it more compelling. it hammered home the same thing of the repetition because it could emphasize it in a way that repetition doesn't. Repetition is the same thing over again, but where the vocal emotion changes shows why it's a recycle of just getting crazier and crazier. This is the defining moment of the entire show, and there are a lot of good jokes, but this one is the best moment because it has taken on a life of itself. Purple Eyes is funny, but he does a lot of work. I still need to watch One Punch Man. I've heard very good things about it. But for Code Ment, this is the moment that solidifies it as something worth remembering. Now, I will give it a lot of flack for not ending. There's not even a real end. It's kind of like that, you can kind of view this as an ending type episode. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that is the exact reaction you should have when you find out episode 16 is the last one. Yeah. Yeah. I've never seen Purple Eyes end something. They just kind of get to a point where it could be an ending and, okay, it's done. Some people like that. It's a good old Sopranos ending, right in the mid-war. That's my personal take. I think that's a drawback because it is pretty much dead at this point. No one is expecting another episode. That said, it's Purple Eyes. Who knows? Maybe he'll come up with another one. I can't say it's not possible. I really just can't. I would like to say not possible. I would like to say it would definitely happen. I would like to say anything. I really can't because I just don't know. And we'll find out when it happens because even if he decides one way or the other, I'm not sure he won't change his mind. And then just be okay with it because, sure, why not? Yeah, that's a perfectly valid reasoning on YouTube or anywhere. I think it's just valid in general. The biggest takeaway from this show, though, is how to establish just the absurdity of repetitive humor. It is the best part about this show. There's a lot of good voice acting. There's a lot of intentionally bad voice acting, which is also a form of good in a very odd way. And it just is funny. But it's a very niche audience for people who enjoy repetitive humor. Very guilty. If that's not your cup of tea, you're not going to like this series. So overall, I think this is one of the best series you can find, but it needs to be taken with a grain of salt because the humor is very much based on, do you enjoy this? If yes, you'll love it. If no, you might want to turn to something else before you piss yourself off because repetitive humor is niche. If you don't like it, you're going to get a lot of it shoved in your face constantly. Every freaking second. So as far as rating goes, I'm going to give this one 6 unhelpful thumbs ups. Is that even a thing? Sure, let's go with it. I need a rating system set up. Now, it's a little lower than Konosuba Bridge because 1, that had an ending, and 2, every bit of humor hid in that one of multiple varieties. But this one, it's one style of humor that makes the show as good as it is. Now, there's other ways that they were funny. There was other one-liners that were good. There was just the voice acting was good. There was a lot of good things about this. But the defining trait was the repetitive humor. It is the most memorable, the most important, and the most common form of humor in the show. And personally, while I love it, it is not for everyone, so you can't give it the highest marks. But it's not a bad show by any means. It is very much worth remembering, and if you haven't seen it yet, I would definitely recommend going to do it. Speaking of, there is a link to the playlist down below. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it because Purple Eyes, if you enjoy repetitive humor, is a great guy when it comes to abridging. Look him up. He's also been involved in a lot of other projects, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone came out and said, hey, the reason we're not getting any more Code Ment is because he has literally not slept in years. He is working on so many things that there is no time for sleep. He is a robot now. He has literally willed himself into being it so he can work on abridges for other people. It is a thing. Yeah, that's less of a joke than you might think. For everyone else, though, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review and that you found it informative, and more importantly, that you go watch the show because seriously, it is so funny. You should definitely watch it. Unless you don't enjoy absurdist humor, then watch something else because you really won't. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And for everyone who's supporting me on Patreon, thank you so very much. It does make it so much easier to get these videos out, along with a bunch of other new original series that I'm starting to work on. So again, to all the Patreons who are helping supporting this, thank you. And if you're interested in joining, there is a link on the screen. For everyone else, thanks for watching again. See you guys in the next one.